PSG seal final place, Ajax return for Suarez, Havertz still in Chelsea talks, a transfer roundup and today's great debate all coming up in the next few minutes as I'm your host Matt Froelich, you are the Onefootballers and this is the Daily News. First up, and it was a glorious night for PSG. Thomas Tuchel, Neymar, Di Maria, absolutely everybody else has finally PSG made it to their first ever Champions League final. All the money thrown into this project looks like it may be coming off, although they will have to face the winner of Bayern Munich or Lyon. Looks more than likely it's going to be Bayern Munich, although having seen Champions League results recently, I'm not willing to put my money on it just yet. Anyway, after a 3-0 victory over RB Leipzig, PSG, as you mentioned, are there and can they take that final step? Well, if you look at some of the players they've got, there's no reason why not. Neymar produced a wonderful assist. Di Maria had a man of the match performance and well, everything just went right. It now means that Neymar has 24 assists in the Champions League. That is more than anyone else since he started in the competition. In fact, 4 more than the next highest, which is Cristiano Ronaldo. And on top of this, PSG equal the record for games scored in the Champions League in a row. The record is 34. They've matched Real Madrid's feat and it took them 3 years to accomplish that. As for the game itself, well, yeah, as I mentioned, Di Maria was man of the match, but all in all, it was rather a disappointing way for Leipzig to bow out. 1 or 2 mistakes from the goalkeeper weren't exactly the finest moment, let's say, of his career. And as for the rest of the defenders, well, they just weren't really up to task. If you look at the way that the likes of Mukiele and Upamecano handled the Atletico Madrid attack when they knocked them out in the last round, you would have thought that things would go a little bit better for them, especially as PSG only squeezed past Atlanta with 2 late goals. But to be beaten so convincingly 3-0 is definitely not something that Julian Nagelsmann would be happy about. In fact, after the game, he said that it's not really fair because their front 2 attackers, talking about PSG's Mbappe and Neymar, cost more than double his whole squad did. Yes, that may be true, but also when it comes to 11v11 on the pitch, you've got to compete and at least do the basic things right. I mean, the horror show for that second goal was something that he won't want to see repeated in any competition moving forward with the German club. But next up, and to the latest goings on at Barcelona, where yesterday President Josep Bartomeu gave a rather interesting press conference where all sorts was talked about. Abidal's been sacked, Ronald Koeman is the new manager, and apart from a handful of players, the whole squad is up for sale, one of them being Luis Suarez. Now, apparently a return to Ajax is on the cards, and honestly, this would be a pretty good move for Ajax. He scored 111 goals and 159 appearances for Ajax way back before moving to Liverpool and then to Barcelona, and at the new camp, he's become the 3rd highest goal scorer of all time. But age 33, I think he's at that twilight era where he's not good enough for Barcelona anymore. I'm not sure he's good enough for a whole season to be the main centre forward at Barca, especially when they've signed Griezmann, especially when there's talks about Martinez and just replacing Suarez in general. But for the Eredivisie and for Ajax, who are the strongest team in the Eredivisie, for them to get a 33-year-old with a few years left, the experience and the ability that Luis Suarez has, that'd be a pretty good signing. If you add on to this the fact that he's not really going to cost too much because he's only got 1 year left at Barcelona, I think this could be a fantastic deal and a brilliant homecoming for the Uruguayan. But next up, I'm talking about a bit more transfer news that we've talked a lot about this summer, but it looks like the deal to take Kai Havertz to Chelsea is still on. Apparently the 2 clubs have been talking since last week when both of them finally realised that they were out of European competition. Kai Havertz wants to move to Stamford Bridge. He's got an agreement in place with Leverkusen that he can move for the right price, and he's got personal terms agreed with Chelsea. It's just that Leverkusen haven't quite decided what the right price is just yet. Apparently they want closer to £90 million. Chelsea only want to pay 70. Whatever happens, he's going to become the most expensive German footballer of all time. The most expensive at the moment is Timo Werner, who moved from Leipzig to Chelsea earlier this summer for around £53 million. What it does mean though is that Havertz's future looks set to be in the Premier League, and one that could really turn Chelsea from top 4 contenders into title contenders. In fact, we did speak about this a few weeks ago, just how Havertz would fit in at Chelsea and everything that he would bring, and you can check out that video by clicking right here. Next up, in a quick roundup of the rest of the day's transfer news, where Inter Milan are planning an outrageous triple bid for Chris Smalling, N'Golo Kante and Emerson Palmieri. Next up, and Schalke's Weston McKennie is in talks with Southampton over a £20 million move, looking to replace the outgoing Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. After missing out on David Silva, Lazio are switching their targets to West Ham's Felipe Anderson. And lastly but not least, some reports out of England are claiming that Napoli will accept around £60 million for Kalidou Koulibaly, alerting the likes of Manchester City. So lastly but not least, we come to this week's great debate. This is where the guys in the OneFootball newsroom pose a question to all of you. You can answer in the comment section below, and you can also check out my answer and the rest of their answers in the relevant article in the OneFootball app. But for the comments section, they want to know who is the one Barcelona player that needs to be sold. So personally, I mean, Bartomeu addressed kind of a lot of it yesterday, but there's more than one player that needs to be sold, and there's more than one change that needs to happen at Barca to fix this utter mess that they're in. But if they were going to sell one big name player, I'm going to say Ousmane Dembele. Now, the reason being basically is that he's 23 years old and they can sell him to a club under the guise that there's a lot of potential to be fulfilled. Like, we've all seen his ability in the last few years. As we mentioned, he's 23, which means he can get better, and he can get better and just be a world beater, or get better and have a massive sell-on price as well for any club that wishes to buy him. All they have to do is keep him fit, which seems a lot easier than trying to get the best out of a 32 or 33-year-old, which is exactly why I don't think that selling the likes of Vidal, Rakitic, I know Griezmann's a bit younger, Luis Suarez, any of them being sold is only going to bring in 20 to 30 million for Barca. That's hardly life-changing money. And as I mentioned before, I don't think any clubs are going to spend big on a player who's at the end of their career. Ousmane Dembele, certainly from a monetary point of view, definitely needs to be the one who should be moved on. So there you have it. That is all from me for today. Let me know your thoughts on the great debate and the rest of the day's daily news in the comments section down below. Whilst you're at it, you can smash the like button and click here or here to check out all of the other videos we've got going on OneFootball. But until next time, I will see you guys later.